Green Bay Day to Day. Alrighty, howdy, sons of guns. I got to keep this one relatively quick, so I will just say congratulations to the Rams, congratulations to the Bucks, congratulations to the Bills, and congratulations to the Chiefs. The games aren't worth talking about. They were done by halftime or earlier in the case of Bills-Pats. So even though the Steelers kind of put up a little bit of a fight, like I'm saying, I mean, it ended up being 42-21. So, again, in my opinion, hardly not really worth talking about. So we will talk Raiders, Bengals, and Niners, Cowboys. We'll say those. We'll start with the Raiders and the Bengals. A relatively good game. I thought that it was going to be kind of a blowout one way or the other. But the Raiders came out trying to keep the playoff drought for the Bengals as long as they could. But at the end of the day, the difference ended up being that Cincinnati was able to cash in one more touchdown than the Raiders. The ultimate drive would end with I think they were at like the 9-yard line or something like that. Derek Carr attempts a pass to, I didn't catch the receiver, you'll have to forgive me. But I believe he was double covered and it ended up being picked off. So it was a silly pass all the way around. I mean, it was 4th and goal. So, you got to be in the end zone. And like I said, I'm pretty sure he was double covered. Derek Carr throws a pick to lose it, which he didn't throw that very, he didn't throw a lot of touchdowns this year, but he didn't throw very many picks at all. So, terrible rough day for the Raider Nation. Good luck next year, and maybe those guys really consider Rich Bisaccia, because man, those guys would play for him. The Raiders players would play for the interim coach, Rich Bisaccia. Congratulations to the Bengals. The Bengals go to Tennessee, where they'll have their hands full defensively anyway, with Derrick Henry. So, predictions later on. Now let's talk about the Niners and the Cowboys. Holy cow, that game was unbelievable. So last week, that was the only prediction that I whiffed on. I thought that the Cowboys would be moving on. As it turns out, the Niners will travel to Green Bay. And I guess one of the big things I will say is like, God damn, with those penalties. I mean, both ways around. I mean, this could have been an entirely different game if just one team didn't commit as many penalties. The Niners seem to have the edge, at least physically, but I would almost say that the penalties that the Niners committed were worse all around, even though the Cowboys committed more. Like, the Cowboys were far dumber, but ultimately the effect on the game, I think, was worse as the 49ers, because they were actually in a quarterback sneak formation, but because I don't know if it's the center's fault or if it's the quarterback's fault, Jimmy Garoppolo, because it was his name, Trent Williams, I think, didn't get set on the far side. It ended up costing them 5 yards, and then they would punt. It looked, I mean, they were doing, the Cowboys, that is, they got into their, 30-second drive, whatever, play calling, and they threw a hook and ladder and quick get out of bounds. And so then I thought, oh, okay, they're going to have 2, maybe 3 shots at the end zone here. And Dak Prescott runs a quarterback draw. Game over. So, I don't know. And then, I mean, my big takeaway from this is that, like, it's just an undisciplined team, and they've had a couple of years to get the ship righted. So when they say, like, oh, should Mike McCarthy be fired, I don't know that I would do that quite yet, because, I mean, they are trending in the right direction as far as their record goes. And if Philadelphia has shown us anything, I mean, they're chomping at the bit too. So you don't necessarily just want to, like, overhaul everybody, because I think you got good coordinators, I think you have great personnel, but, I mean, maybe you just dedicate a good 10 minutes of practice to hard counting so that your guys don't jump, because it happens even I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the best at the drawing offsides. But even he sometimes gets a guy every once in a while, and that wasn't what happened. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they false started twice in a row to go from third and should have it, to the third and pretty easy to convert to third and 14 or something like that, third and 12, third and 14. So yeah, I mean, just cleaning things up is all that they really need to do, which should be the easy part. But as they say, year to year in the NFL, I mean, you don't even know who's going to be back. So, man, what about Ezekiel Elliott's? He ended up blocking two 49ers rushers that were coming free at the same goddamn time, man. It was unfucking believable. So. Otherwise, I mean, man, what could have been? Because holy cow! I mean, they were defensively. The Cowboys were, man, doing everything that they could, held them to field goals for a lot of the night, and I don't know. What do you say? I mean, tough matchup for absolute certain. We all know that the Niners are a very physical football team. Nick Bosa got hurt. He's in concussion protocol. I thought that because the waist of his waist/hip of his fellow defensive lineman ran right into his shoulder area. So I thought it was goodbye clavicle. If you talk to any medical professional, apparently the clavicle is designed to break so that it cushions the blow to your body, or so. I don't fucking know, but we've seen a lot of them go pretty quickly. Tony Romo a few years back, he suffered a broken collarbone, came back in the same year, and then broke the same damn collarbone a play later. So, it was, I guess, I don't know. But I guess it's just a concussion. But they're playing they're playing Saturday. So you got to wonder if that's time enough. Shanahan says that he's good, that he was, that he likes where he was at when he last spoke to him. I don't know. They might just be trying to keep the Packers guessing. I don't know. But man, I keep going back to and Dak Prescott in his press conference, he was like, well, I know that they're fans and everything, but I don't know why they would throw food at us and stuff. And one of the media members was like, no, that was apparently for the for the officiating crew, and of course Dak was like, I don't know, he was like, oh well, then more credit to, or more power to him, or credit to whatever, effectively saying, well, that's a good thing. Despite I didn't see a call in the game. There was one false start, I think. It might have been a I don't know, but that I was like, I think that it should be a neutral zone infraction or what have you, but it ended up not going their way, and sail out, whatever. So Cowboys stay home and Niners travel up to Green Bay. So let's talk a little divisional weekend. So what does that mean? The Titans will host the Bengals. We talked about it. Everybody knows what these teams are. Joe Burrow has a pretty explosive offense that can do pretty well. I don't know about the defense for the Titans. We could. I mean, I think the AFC matchups are incredibly close. I think it's going to be a great weekend. I would sincerely not mind going 0-2. I'm going to say the Titans because I think that they're going to be able to control that ground. Control the clock all day with the ground game, and how do you stop there? Of course, it's possible, but it's a pretty tough ask. And Tannehill isn't a bad quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. He hasn't played well this year, but he's not bad. So I think the real question is if they're going to be able to get their defense settled. The Tennessee Titans, that is. Because, they are the first seed. I think everybody expects them at least have the betting edge, you know. Like they'll give the Bengals some points. So I would imagine that the Titans are favored, but who knows? I mean, we've seen crazier things in the NFL. And then the Bills travel to Kansas City. Of course, this was very early in the season, but the Bills did trounce Kansas City. Again, you know, it all boils down to whether or not you're going to get a good Josh Allen on that night. Because if you get a good Josh Allen, it's you know, you never really scoop in the postseason, or at least you try not to. But like, holy cow, 27 to what was the score at halftime with the Patriots? 27-3. I might be wrong about that. It might have been like 27-7 or something like that. But you know, so looking at the NFC, the Rams traveled to Tampa. So the Rams beat the Buccaneers in SoFi, though, at home. The Rams were at home that contest. And they beat them by 10. Is the switch in Fields a big enough advantage for the Bucs to beat the Rams? Because the Rams are pulling everything together, man. And I'm saying it like it is. You know, OBJ looks revitalized. Von Miller's playing his damn ass off. Aaron Donald looks like he hasn't lost a step. Jalen Ramsey's pretty damn good. The offensive line is nice. The running game didn't electrify me against the Cardinals, but you know, it looks pretty good. Meanwhile, I don't know if any of the injuries that Tampa Bay sustained on Sunday were significant enough that they won't be able to participate, but I don't know, man. Whenever you see a team just fall into complete disarray, like with the Antonio Brown situation, you know, it's all credit to them that they're, you know, they were still technically playing for the first seed in Week 17 before Green Bay ended up beating the Vikings. Excuse me. So I'm thinking, man, it's a tough one. My gut says Rams, but of course we all know Tom Brady. You know, who knows? I guess we'll have to see. I'm feeling Rams. And then I think the big matchup of the weekend. The 6th-seeded Niners go to Green Bay, number 1 seed, who are fresh off a bye. You know, had a lot of time to recover. And so I think that it will actually kind of hinge on whether or not Nick Bosa returns. But I will say, Bakhtiari played in Week 18 for a few. It was like 28 plays or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And then they're getting their other good offensive lineman that hasn't played for freaking 3 months. Zadarius Smith, Jair Alexander. Wasn't there another? There was another. There's another guy. I'm blanking on him. I thought on defense that could come back. But whatever it is, just don't let Kevin King play in the game, dude. Because god dang, like that guy will lose you some contests. So I think pound for pound they actually match up pretty well, decently with one another. For whatever reason, people are saying like, well, Green Bay just doesn't have the physical. Like Colin Cowherd is like, oh, it's already a fucking done deal, you know. I'm sure I haven't seen his show recently, but I'm sure that he's on the side of like the last time I heard it was like, hey, the Niners are one of the most physical teams in the league, and it's like, yeah, I guess that's not necessarily incorrect, but you know who swept the NFC West, right? Like, it's hard to beat a team twice. I'll say that. That's absolutely true. But if you're coming in without Nick Bosa, if Fred Warner is hobbled, you know, heaven forbid something happens to Deebo Samuels in practice or something silly like that happened to the Rams. Was it Wood, the Rams receiver? So, you know, I'd say a lot of facets head to head are kind of a push, especially if Bosa's out. So I don't know. I think I'm going Green Bay on that one probably. I think it's a pretty confident, pretty comfortable. They opened up, I think, at 5 point or maybe 5.5 point favorites. So I think that it's, because it was that what we saw that it's a real factor that you're gonna have to figure out how to play against, and you don't get a lot of seats in Green Bay if you're a Rams fan, or if you're if you're a Niners fan. So, that crowd noise is gonna be loud. You're gonna have to count on some false starts that you're gonna have to overcome, and these both are not the same team. Same teams that played on in 2020. Excuse me, for the NFC Championship game. They're excuse me. While I think that there are a lot of things that are in our favor, physicality, I will say, is definitely something in the Rams' favor. They're the fucking Rams. God damn! Every time I talk about the fucking 49ers, I consistently accidentally say the Rams. I am talking about the fucking 49ers. Please understand, anytime that I'm ever talking about the 49ers or the Rams, I might say the other team on accident. It's just, you guys know what I'm talking about. So, I'm going to say, it's just, because it's just one of those things where, the Packers don't really commit penalties a lot. I'm sure 2 or 3 a game, and the Niners tend to be at least slightly more penalized. Their defense, I would say their defense is good, except for the secondary. I don't trust them all that much. I'm not saying that interceptions is the only thing that matters, but they have 7. So of course anything could happen. Maybe Aaron Jones fumbles twice in the same damn game, and then that's it. It's not even really a contest, but. We'll have to see. So I guess I would say between the Titans and the Bengals, I'm going to go with the Titans. Chiefs, Bills, I'm leaning Chiefs. We'll see what happens. Which would set up an AFC Championship game between the Titans and the Chiefs in Tennessee. Bucks, Rams, I feel like it's the Rams. Again, that's a pretty close, I don't know. I'm not sure. And then Niners, Packers, I guess I should say. I think it's Green Bay, man. I think this is their year. They have played pretty loosely, comparatively. They started off pretty nice on defense early in the year. Kind of haven't played all that well, but I'm imagining that with Zadarius Smith and Jair Alexander, it'll at least make some difference. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. Sorry that we came out a little bit late. I didn't have exactly a family emergency, but I did have some familial things to take care of that couldn't wait. So appreciate you guys being patient with me, and want to say a little rest in peace to Barry McCockiner. Sort of. He's very notorious for his distaste toward Tom Brady, for lack of a better phrase, I guess. And so I've always kind of felt the way that he's felt without necessarily putting like all the stats on paper. Sometime over the off season, I might take up that mantle if it needs to even be said like that. But go if you're sleeping on his podcast, if you're sleeping on his YouTube channel, go check him out, man. Otherwise, thanks for listening. You can email me at GB-D2D at outlook.com. And you can follow me on Twitter if you like at GB_D2D. That's it. You guys take care of yourselves.